Welcome to Halloween on a Dime. I'm Margaret, and in this video I will be teaching you how to create a Halloween signpost. First things first, we talk materials. What do you need to create a Halloween signpost? You will need a big long wood rod for your stake in the ground to be holding the whole thing up. I got these. This comes at the hardware store for just a few dollars. And it was longer than this. It was cut. And so pretty cheap. And it was the only thing I bought. Everything else I already had. So, a few dollars for this whole thing. Next thing you'll need is some old plywood. You can get some cheap plywood at the hardware store for a couple dollars, or maybe you have another project, some old wood, or you can get it from a friend or something. It's always good to use and reuse. That's the best way to save money. And you'll also need some brown spray paint, and then whatever color you're going to be using to writing your words. Maybe I used white. I have green here for Oz. You can use any other color. You just want to make sure it's going to stand out and people will be able to read it from a distance. So whatever color you wish. I used white. Actually, it's an off-white, really. And some type of varnish or coating, because this will be sitting outside, so you want to make sure it's protected and it's not going to be peeling. So, how do you create this? Well, first you take your long piece of wood rod, it's very tall, and you cut it to the height that you want. I don't remember how tall this is. I don't know, this is probably about 6.5 feet tall, somewhere around there. And you take the end that's going to be sticking in the ground and you spike it in some way. You might even want to create a bigger spike, just so it's easier to get it into the ground. And you take that, and then you take your brown spray paint. As I've said in other videos, I use the cheap paint, $1 can. I think the entire post ended up needing about 1.5 cans for all of it, for the post and the arrows. And then you set that aside to dry. Then you take your plywood and you draw out your arrows. On mine, they're not all the same size. They're different sizes, different shapes. That's partially to do because I had different size plywood. I used leftover plywood, and there was all different shapes and sizes, and so I just created them as big as I could. And I had my brother cut those out, and then I painted those the same color brown, spray painted them. Front and back. And then what you want to do is you want to plan it out. Mine is all planned out. At the top here, you can't see it, all the way at the top I have my Tatooine arrow. It's pointed at the sky. Then I have Never Never Land, Oz, Sleepy Hollow, Hogwarts, Bates Motel. And they're all pointed in different directions. You want to plan it out. You want to make sure they're all pointing different directions. You don't want them all pointing the same way, or maybe you do. Depends on how you want to do it. It's your sign. Do it however you want. I have them all pointing different directions. And you want to plan it out just because, maybe if you want to do a Tatooine, you're going to want it pointing at the sky, and And if maybe you're going to have a scene that you want one of these to point to, so you're going to want to plan that ahead of time. And then I painted on the words, just did it by hand. I wrote in pencil first, very lightly, and then I went over with the paint. This is black, but I used the outdoor paint. I said in another video it's about $3 for this, but I use a coupon so it comes out to $1.50. But I actually had some already, like I said, so like I said, I didn't have to buy anything but the tall rod for this project. And you want to make sure they're big so that they can be seen from the road. Make them as big as you want. They don't have to all be the same color, you know, I have them all. The only one that stands out is Oz. I did it in green for the Emerald City. And then you hammer them on. Just, you know, hammer them on. It's supposed to be old and sort of ratty. It does look new, but I bet after a few years it'll start looking ratty and it'll be great. It's actually already starting to look ratty because the varnish didn't hold too great. So, but I'm not complaining because I think it makes it look even better. And then after you nail them on, obviously, you varnish the whole thing, coat it. Just helps protect it from the rain. Doesn't always work. Like I said, it started to wear out. But I'm not complaining because it gives it some texture, makes it look more interesting. And that's about it. It's really very simple. I mean, you just, you know, cut out the arrows with old plywood and nail them to the rod. You don't even have to paint it, probably. I mean, paint it brown. I did, but you don't even have to paint it brown if you really don't want to. Just use the wood how it is. You could, even if you want, maybe you cut down a tree in your yard, save one of the thick branches, use a thick branch for your post. I mean, there's a lot of different ideas that you can use. A lot of different things that you can do to create it. I mean, you don't have to use just one idea, you know. Stop and think about how you want to do it, how you want it to look. So, but that's it. Very basic, very easy to create, very cheap. Like I said, it only cost me the rod because I already had everything else. And that's about it.